I have been wanting to start a booktube for a while. I love just posting my silly little book reviews on my Bookstagram, but I was like, you know what, this could be kind of cool. So, I thought that I'd start out with a little overview of my taste, which you will get to know through my favorite books. I do borrow a lot of books from the library because I'm a grad student and I don't have any money. So while it would be lovely to have wall to wall of books, I can't afford that right now. So what I'm showing you today is like some of my favorite books, but literally like half the stuff that I've ranked 5 stars I just don't own and I'm on the lookout for it, such as Secret History, My Husband by Maud Ventura. I'm sure I will talk about that a ton because I'm obsessed with this book and I think it's so slept on. But my taste ranges, I don't know, I really like a little bit of magical realism like Murakami, which I know he's a misogynist, but we're just not gonna go there. But I just love Japanese writers and Japanese translated works, Japanese, like, I love that. If that's a genre that oh, my cat is meowing. First book that I'm going to be starting off with is Never Let Me Go by Kazuo Ishiguro. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. This book, I think I read it when I was about 16 for the first time. And I don't want to spoil it for people who haven't read it, but basically the reason that this book is so high up there for me is the twist. It's like you think it's this idyllic run-of-the-mill story, and then about 2/3 of the way through, you find out this twist that just changes everything, and it's not even like a boom, like shocking, like twist reveal type thing. It's just like you pick up on it gradually, like what's going on. It's hard to say what it is without spoiling it, but then you get to that point and you realize that there will be no happy ending. I think that's kind of a commonality that a lot of these books have, is that you go into them with the knowledge that you're not going to get some like huge happy ending, and I tend to like those kind of books because they mirror reality more. But anyway, first off on my list is Never Let Me Go. It is stunning, it is beautiful, it is just everything, and it's just really gentle and quiet. I think that's why I like it. The writing itself takes a backseat to the plot, but I think really good writing, unless of course you're going for a certain mode of writing or certain style, I think that I like that about books. Like when you know what you're getting into, you know what to expect. Like, you know what I mean? Yeah. So that brings us to our next book, The Remains of the Day. Now, this is not a book that I would say that you can't put down, not by any means. Like, it's very slow, it's kind of just like yada yada, and actually I didn't intend on buying this book, but I was reading it on my friends and I's summer trip a few summers ago, and the tide came up and it got washed into the sea, so it was a library book, but then I had to buy it. But I was like, you know what, like I wanted this anyway, so that's okay. Basically it follows this butler throughout his life, and a lot of it's him describing his day-to-day, again, kind of mundane thing, until you realize that his boss is like heavily involved in World War II and not on the right side. But it takes place in England, so you're removed from any like face-to-face kind of conflict. But even though that plot's terrific, the thing that really gets me about this book, just more than anything, is the control of emotion. Like, you don't really see the butler, you don't really see him having emotions, exhibiting them, like it's just so subtle. But since we're in the mind of the butler the entire book, you get to know these subtleties really well. And there's this one line, I don't want to spoil anything, but there's this one line at the end that basically the entire book he's restrained himself from showing emotion, from exhibiting anything. And there's this line at the end where he has an exchange after years and years and years with the person who ostensibly is the love of his life, and I don't remember if it's a sigh or if it's just a very subtle, like, it could be a sigh, it could be a pause. I don't exactly remember. I guess I should have looked into that first. But there's no book that I've ever read that you can, oh, there she is. There's no book that I've ever read that basically like the emotional peak is something so subtle as that, and I think that's a testament to how brilliant this book is. It just took my heart and like glorious, beautiful. So now, to be honest, I don't know that I'd say this is like top like Hall of Fame. So maybe I don't know, this is just kind of Murakami like as a whole, because I'm obsessed with him. Misogyny aside, I just love him. I love his books. I love knowing what you're gonna get. I love that you can have a batshit plot, but it's still just lyrical and rhythmic, makes you feel like you're rocking to sleep. I also love little lines, like this is a line that I had bookmarked. This book is Sputnik Sweetheart. I think this is a great beginner book if you're just getting into Murakami. It's pretty short, it's pretty easy to understand, but it's lines like this. I must be in love with this woman, Sumira realized with the start. No mistake about it. Ice is cold, roses are red. I'm in love. And this love is about to carry me off somewhere. The current's too overpowering. I don't have any choice. Now, after the fact, I know that her hunch turned out to be correct, 100% on the money. And then after that, like the plot, like you know how it's gonna turn out, but you're in it. And that's kind of another point that kind of connects to this book. This is total 180. This book is The Paris Wife by Paula McLean. This has been my favorite for ages, and this is the kind of book that I've reread pretty much every year of my life. I'm due for a reread this year. But it's the one that really got me into historical fiction, and my thesis for my master's was historical fiction. And this kind of gave me the confidence to be like, oh yeah, this is a genre that doesn't have to be crazy and scary and intimidating, and I can do it. And it's beautiful. It's about Ernest Hemingway's relationship with his first wife, who many consider the love of his life. And the reason that I linked it to the book before is that, like, from the beginning, you know the relationship is doomed. This is historical fiction. We know how it goes. And in the foreword, there's basically a line where she says, you know, you won't see it coming, but the threat is this woman, basically, that he leaves her for. And she knows full well, like, that this is coming, that it's happening. And the line that really just, like, always takes my heart and is, like, a line where she knows she's very self-aware. She says, we would never, it's a scene after they've both, like, been laughing, happy, dancing to jazz around the fire, and she says, we would never again be this happy. And she knows it. And we know it as the reader, but we keep reading and we follow along with this doomed from the start, devastating tale, and it's so beautiful, and it just is a very, like, realistic rendition of love and what it is to love. So that's why I love that one. And last but certainly not least, I have Getting Lost by Miss Annie Ernaux. I think if I reread this now, to be honest, I don't know that this one either is like Hall of Fame is gorgeous, and I think it is, but basically this book is just like girlhood. This book is beautiful. Basically, this woman is like super accomplished, super like mature. She's achieved what she wants from life, but she's brought to her knees by basically a fling. And the entire book is just her obsessing. I take that back. This is 100% a Hall of Fame kind of book. Like, she knows what it is to be a woman and to yearn. Like, it's so good, y'all. It's so good. I'm sorry for slandering it. Well, not slander, but, like, this definitely deserves a place. And I think it's just because most of these books I've reread, like, multiple times, but this one I haven't. So maybe that's what I need to do. But I'm obsessed with this book. And I love that it's in a diary format, so it feels really authentic. Anyway, so those are my top 5 best books of all time. They're my kind of book Hall of Fame. Now, because I do get a lot of books from the library, a lot of the ones that I would want to be on there I don't currently own, but you know, hopefully we get there, and hopefully I'll be able to include those. Now, for my worst books. My most disappointing books on my shelf currently. I don't want to be a hater. Like, I love to be a hater in my everyday life, but I don't want to come on the internet and be like, this sucks, but look, it has to be done. This one hurts because this cover is so pretty. Like, look at this. Ugh. Anyway. I just didn't like it. Like, well, no shit, but like, obviously, I don't know, there was just something about the writing style that I felt like the characters just didn't feel fully fleshed out. Like, it felt a lot of like telling and not showing y kind of vibe. I also just felt just very emotionally disconnected from them, and I feel like if I don't have an emotional stake in what's going on in the book, like, I'm sorry, not interested. It's all like the pretty covers. Like, I wanted to love this book. My boyfriend picked it up for me on a trip of his. This feels like sacrilege to say because that was so sweet. But it's just so formulaic. Like, it just felt so formulaic and like a children's fable. Which, you know, to be honest, that can be comforting. Like, if you're going through it, I bet this book would be so comforting to read if you just, like, are really down in life and you just need something predictable and sweet. But not, I don't know, it just didn't really give what I was hoping it would give. Now, this one hurt me too. Strange Hotel by Emer McBride. I feel like this is one of those books that if you get it, you get it. And sadly, I did not get it. She is the author of one of my most just favorite of, I don't own a copy of this, but this is an example of one of my favorites of all time that I don't own. A Girl is a Half-Formed Thing by Miss Ma'am. And that book, it just takes trauma and blows everything you know about trauma writing out of the water. It's beautiful. So I was so excited to find this book and thinking that it was going to kind of do the same thing, but this book was just very confusing, fragmented, like poetic, but in a didn't land kind of way. Basically, it's an unknown narrator, and she just finds herself in this hotel room, like reckoning with her past, but everything's kind of like hard to follow and not very well defined. Again, maybe it's just that I didn't get it, but like, I just did not get it. I don't know. So those are only 3 because to be honest, the majority of my books, and I take that back, I have donated like quite a few books that I didn't enjoy recently, but as far as like recent books that I did not love that are still on my shelf, like, to be honest, like, these were all kind of like 2-3 stars. Like, I don't know. I have a lot of like 3-4 stars, like mid-range, but like, I don't know, these were just the ones that I was like, And maybe my expectations were also higher on these. It could just be that. So maybe it's the gap between my expectations and the reality. But anyway, let me just show you what I'm currently reading while we're at it. I'm currently reading The Last because I don't usually read thriller / mystery / horror kind of books, but I just decided to because why not? I'm kind of hopefully starting up like a mystery thriller kind of writing project, so I kind of wanted to get inspo on how to do that well, and I'm loving this, but I think I might have spoiled it for myself because I was looking to read like the author bio on the back, as I do, just because, you know, I like to see like where they're from, what kind of stuff they're getting into. And here on this page, now why would you not have like a gutter here? Why would you not have blank pages? Basically the premise of this book is that one person is alive at the end, and on this page it had a character's name. So I'm assuming that's the one person that's left alive, and I spoiled it for myself. So I certainly hope not. I'm about this way through the book, so that really sucks, but I'm going to keep on keeping on, and hopefully I did not spoil it. And that was just a weird blip, but I think I spoiled it. Anyway, thanks so much for joining. Have a great rest of your day. Comment anything? Let's be friends. Say hi. This is my first video. I'd love to be friends.